That aren't chanting are the city councillors walking away from an outside meeting disrupted by protesters. The ones that are chanting came to close down City Hall, and for a while they did. The group of 30 people from Our Homes Can't Wait next went to the Vancouver Service Centre. One jumped on a desk.
What do we want? Social housing! What do we want? Now!
They tried to get deeper into the building, but were turned back.
So let's move it. We don't want to get you hurt by it.
Now you're threatening him.
After that, it was back to City Hall to block the doors once more.
We will fight for our lives and our rights to live with dignity. There will be no business as usual at City Hall on May 1st unless our demands are met.
Around a dozen police officers kept a close eye on protesters, but there were no confrontations. At issue, a social housing building slated for 58 West Hastings. It's a garden now, but the plan is for this property to have 231 units of housing. 77 of those are guaranteed welfare rates. As for the remaining 154, there's no guarantee yet. The higher target requires more money. It's not clear a new $30 million injection from the province will be enough.
Here's a poster of
You promised
Gregor Robertson signing an agreement to build 100% welfare and veteran rate housing at 58 West Hastings. That was 2 years ago.
The mayor, I think, was irresponsible in signing without the authority of the council as a whole.
It's one of many fires the city is fighting that relate to our housing crisis. When City Council finally resumed Tuesday afternoon, the subject was the annual homeless count, and the numbers were up. John Woodward, CTV News, Vancouver.
On the other end of the spectrum, the owners of multi-million-dollar homes are also becoming increasingly outraged as taxes on their properties go up. Scott Roberts is live on Vancouver's west side, where a public meeting over new taxes has been cancelled because of security concerns. Scott.
Yeah, Jason, that town hall meeting was supposed to happen not too far from here, but it was abruptly canceled this morning. Still, that is not stopping critics of the school tax from voicing their opposition. Take a look behind me. This rally ending just a few minutes ago, but hundreds of people have showed up here at Trimble Park blasting the government, even though they couldn't do it directly to the Attorney General. This is what it can look like when protesters attend town hall meetings. The Prime Minister on the receiving end of jeers at this one.
Come on!
Now a provincial politician has canceled a similar event.
It was just not going to be a controlled or a safe environment, in my opinion.
Attorney General David Eby says constituents concerned over the NDP school tax were set to attend the event at this community center en masse without tickets. Many voters in his pricey Point Grey riding captured by the tax, with homes worth more than $3 million, aren't happy they're being forced, in some cases, to pay thousands more every year.
If he thinks they're a security threat, I think he's got a lot to answer for, because these are people who've lived in their homes for 30, 40, 50 years. They are not a safety threat to anyone.
But the government is accusing the Liberals and other groups of stoking the anger. Opposition leader David Wilkinson sending this letter to hundreds of homes, urging people to attend whether they had a ticket or not. A real estate firm even took out this newspaper ad, telling opponents to go regardless of whether or not the hall was full.
We had seniors and high school students working the doors. They're not security guards. They couldn't stop people, and so if people decided to march in large numbers, we'd have an obvious capacity issue.
All of it disappointing for this Shaughnessy resident who had a ticket to the event. He's a retiree facing an $11,000 tax hike on his $6 million home.
We want to preserve our savings, which are locked up in the house, for our retirement in our later years.
And he wanted to share his concerns face to face with the minister.
Now, Scott, it might be hard for some people to sympathize with people who own homes worth more than $3 million. What are people there saying about that?
Well, look, Jason, these people here, they know they're not the most sympathetic group based on the value of those homes. We're talking about multi-million-dollar homeowners here, but they call this tax arbitrary. It is one that the government simply did not run on, and we heard from a lot of seniors here today that said, despite the fact you're allowed to defer these taxes, they still don't think they can actually afford to pay them. As for that town hall meeting, David Eby says it will be rescheduled at a later date at a larger venue so more people can attend.
All right. Scott Roberts on the west side. Thank you, Scott.